Meta has launched its Frontend Developer course on Coursera. This is one of the best courses to learn front-end web development. It starts all the way from basics of web development, some HTML and CSS, and then it moves up to React development as well as coding preparation. So let's look into this course. So this is the homepage of Meta Frontend's professional certificate. So it has a very good rating of 4.7 out of 5, and its language is English. It is beginner friendly, 100% self-paced, and here are some details about the course. There are total 9 courses in this particular professional certificate, which includes Introduction to Frontend, Programming with JavaScript, Version Control, HTML and CSS in depth, and then React Basic, and then Advanced React and Principles of UI UX Design, and finally Frontend Capstone. And in the last section you will learn about coding interview preparation. In one of my previous video I have told that Coursera is not the best platform to learn web development, but this one particular course is an exception. First one is Introduction to Front-End Development. Let's look into its curriculum. In week 1 it will cover basics about web development, introduction, front-end, back-end, full stack, how internet works, how web server works, websites, web pages, web browser, internet protocol, HTTP, and HTML, CSS, JS. What is IDE, what is API, what is services, basic stuff. And then it moves towards the basics of introduction to HTML and CSS, HTML, linking, forms, web accessibility, selecting, styling, box model, and document flow, block process, inline, etc. And in week 3 it introduces to some UI framework, so working with libraries, introduction to responsive design, and some bootstrap grids, bootstrap components. And it also covers introduction to basic of React, how React works, and a little bit about components. And then in last week you will be having a quiz or graded assignment. So one of the best thing about Coursera is that it has some graded assignment or any quiz or capstone project at the end of each course. So due to this, it will create a habit of practicing as well as revising what you have learned in this particular course. So this is one of the best thing about Coursera. And moving on to second course, it is Programming with JavaScript. In the first week it starts with Introduction to JavaScript, setting up VS Code, what is JavaScript, basic stuff like variables, data types, operators, numbers, string, booleans, and then moving into conditional statement, for loop, while loop, nested loop, etc. And in week 2 it moves towards building block of program. It includes stuff like function, sorting data, introduction to object, bugs and error, try catch, undefined, null, empty, etc. And in the third week you will learn about programming paradigms like functional programming, parlet cons. Parlet cons is one of the most important topic and commonly asked interview question in case of JavaScript. And then it introduces to OOP, basics of class, inheritance, for loop, spread operator, rest operator. These are all new ES6 features. Then moving on to DOM manipulation, selectors, event handling. And on week 4 it covers about testing. So what is testing, introduction to jest, what is test driven development. So in the last week, as the previous one, you will be having some quiz, reading material, or some assessment. So this is very good section. And moving on to third course, it is about version control. You will be learning about Git, how to push your code to GitHub, how to maintain the versions, how to pull, push, etc. Moving into his curriculum, firstly it starts with software collaboration, what is version control, some of its history, and ends with the summary. And then moves on to command line. So what is command line, what is Unix command, using bash on Windows, pipes, direction, grapes, some basics of command lines. And then it moves on to working with Git, what is Git, what is GitHub, how does Git work, add, commit, branches, remote, local, push, diff, blame, etc. And finally, in the last section, you will have some reading and quizzes. Moving on to the fourth course, you will be now learning about HTML and CSS more in depth. So in its curriculum, first week is dedicated to HTML in depth. You will learn about HTML, CSS, how to use them in real world, semantic tags, metadata, UX, form submissions, iframes, canvas. And similarly for CSS, you will be covering about interactive CSS in week 2. It covers about CSS, flexbox, flexchart, CSS grid, grid showcase, pseudo classes, test effects, animation, common errors, debugging tools, case study as well. And finally, in the last section, you will be getting some readings and some quizzes as well. Now that you have learned basics about HTML and CSS as well as some JavaScript, now is the time to look into the React.js. So in React.js, it covers things about React components. So why React, React.js overview, creating component, principles of component, props, JSX, styling. And in the second week, it will cover about data and state, syntax for handler, user events, child and data, use of hooks, states, managing state, what are the state management libraries available in the React, and difference between stateful, stateless, etc. And in the third week, you will be learning about navigation and updating and assets in React.js. It covers about basics of navigation, navbar, conditional rendering, using embedded asset, audio, video, etc. And finally, in the last section, you will build your first React app, and you will have some graded assessment as well. And also you will be doing a graded assessment. I think you will be making a calculator app. And moving on to next course, it is about advanced React. So once you know the basics, you move to advanced part. You will be first learning about components, grid layout, keys in React, more detailed part about components. In the previous section, you learn about the basics. However, in this section, you will be learn about more detail, what is control component, creating forms, context, why it is used, etc. And finally, on week 2, you will be learning about React hooks and creating your custom hooks. So in this section, you will be working with React hooks, using use state hook, side effects, use effect hook, fetching data, APIs, use reducer, use ref, etc. And then on the third week, you will be learning about JSX and testing, learn about spread attributes, creating HOC component, render props, and also covers about testing library. And finally, in the last section, you will be making a final project in React where you can implement what you have learned till now. And moving on to the next section, it is regarding principles of UX UI design. So as a front-end developer, you need to know about how website look and feel. So you need to have basics of UI and UX design. On the week 1, it will cover about principles of UI UX design, final project, what is UX, what is UI, what is Figma, and it also provides a case study. And then it moves towards week 2, where you will be evaluating interactive design, form design, components, little level evaluation, navigation best practices, etc. And in the third week, you will be learn about applied design fundamentals, stuff like frame, grids, manipulating elements, wireframing, usability testing, etc. And on the fourth week, you will be learning about designing your own UI. So how to make it beautiful, stylized, system design, also a case study at the end. And on the last section, you will have some reading and some quizzes as a final assessment and a course summary. And moving on to the next course, it is regarding front-end developer capstone. So in this you will be working on a personal project. So it starts with introduction to course, setting up your project, planning the UI UX, how you will design the UI UX. And on the second section you will be creating the project foundation, what elements, what code you will be writing, basically project structure. And on the week 3 you will be covering our project functionality, what functionality will be there in your project. And finally you will have the assessment regarding the project, what you have done, what is the purpose of your project, and were you able to complete the project or not. And finally in the last section it covers about coding interview preparation. So until now you have learned about basics of HTML, CSS, JavaScript and React, and also developed a project in React.js. You can apply for jobs and look into internship. For that you need to prepare some data structures and algorithm. So in the first section it is introduction to coding interview. So what is coding interview, communication. So yeah, you will be learning basics about time complexity, space complexity, and also about introduction to data structure, list, state, trees, hash table, heaps, graph, etc. And in the week 3 you will be learning about introduction to algorithm, sorting, divide, conquer, recursion, dynamic programming, greedy algorithm, etc. And in the last section you will be working on one project which will have some reading as well as the quiz. So these are the 9 courses which are included in this particular course. This is a very well structured course. There are very few courses which covers such many things in one particular course. So if you are interested in this course, you can enroll into this course for free. You can also get the financial aid writing to Coursera, but I would recommend enrolling free into this course. Audit this course. I think while auditing you will not get the certificate, but you will get access to the whole library, but you will not get access to some of the assessment and quizzes, but you can get full access to videos. So this was the video about Meta's new front-end developer course. I believe this is one of the best course to learn front-end development to get started, barring some exceptions. Like it could have gone little bit in depth in React as well as covered basics of Redux, but except that this is one of the best course to learn front-end web development. Thank you for watching the video till the end. I have been little busy with some work and exams. Now I am free. I hope to publish more videos consistently now. Thank you for watching.